I'm Brian Conklin, and this is my life portrait. I'm 31 years old now. I've got my daughter Grace, she's 2, my son Benson, who's turning 5, and my wife Christina. We've been together for 13 years, married for 8. I come from a family where my dad's a truck driver. He drove steel truck, still does for the same company. So I think a little bit of my toughness and my work ethic comes from him. Watching him daily wake up at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning every day, going to work, driving truck for 13, 14 hours and trying to make it home on time to be able to watch me play a basketball game that night or to be able to take me to practice that night. You know, I just saw his work ethic and saw what he was able to do for us. Inherently, I've got that, and so every time I step on the court, every time I do something, I want to do that with the same kind of energy that I felt like I saw him putting into every day, and just working hard and just enjoying the opportunity to wake up every day and to have a new day and to do something that I love. My mom was in medical records. She's always worked for the school district, so that was cool to have that ability when I was at school. Certain days, you know, if I felt sick and I knew my mom was in the office, I could, you know, pretend like I had a cold or cough, and I could go in and lay down in the medical room with her and hang out. So always had my mom around to look after us. So that was really fun. Got a brother who's a grade younger than me, 2 years younger than me. So we grew up together, fighting in the same room, sleeping in the same room. It's one of those things where you don't appreciate a brother until I left for college, and then now I see him grow up and he's got his own wife. He's got one child and now he's got another child on the way, so now they have 2 kids. And so to kind of now see him and hang out with him in the summer, that's really cool to get the kids together because all the kids are the same age. I've got a little sister who's 5 years younger than me. We're a lot older than her, so a typical little sister that tried to follow us around and do stuff, and we teased her and bullied her and pushed her around, but I think it's made her tougher for that, and she's a super strong, independent woman, and so I love her for that. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm from and kind of backstory about my personal life. I started playing basketball at the age of 6. My first memory that got me into playing basketball was I can remember Michael Jordan hitting a step back and winning his 6th championship. My dad before the game told me I needed to come down and watch this game because there was a guy playing that was really good and it was supposed to be his last game. And so I needed to focus on that guy. And so I watched the game, the whole game. My dad was talking to me about basketball. And then this guy he told me to watch hits this amazing shot at the end. And I thought that was the coolest thing ever. So I was like, this seems like a cool game, Dad. I want to play. And so he said, okay. And we started playing from then on. My dad went and got a steel pole and poured cement, put it in the ground, and we had that basketball hoop there for the next 15 years until I left for college. My dad was my first coach, along with another parent. Great team, great group of guys. We played together through my whole middle school time. We played together even up until high school. We won a state championship together. I got a college scholarship to go to St. Louis University, played Division I. That was in the Atlantic 10, so played a lot of good teams, a lot of opportunities to go to the NCAA tournament. I was able to go to the NCAA tournament in my senior year, and we were able to play Memphis and beat them, kind of upset them in the first round, and then we played number 1 seed Michigan State, and they had Draymond Green, who a lot of you guys will know, on their team. And I was able to match up against him, and we fought them really hard, and we ended up losing by 4 in the end. One of their guys who wasn't supposed to be a shooter hit a crazy 3-point shot at the end of the shot clock with 50 seconds left in the game. It kind of made it a 2-possession game, and it was a free throw battle for that last minute. So we had him up until that last crazy kind of miracle 3. But that was a great way to kind of end my college experience. Came in with 9 freshmen, stayed with the same roommate and played together. So I've always had this affinity for my teammates and playing together and building a chemistry, and this followed me into my professional career. So I ended up playing in New Zealand. My first year, we won a championship, kept the same team together the next year in New Zealand. Fought for a championship, lost. In between, went to Australia, started my career over in Australia, which I played for 3 years there. Got MVP of the league in my second year. We conceived my son and had my son in Australia. So Benson, my oldest, he's 5 years old now. He was born over there. My wife, Christina, flew 32 weeks pregnant on that 14-hour flight, and we weren't given an exit row. So that was one of our crazy memories about having Benson in Australia. finishing that time in Australia when I played in Puerto Rico. So I started playing in Puerto Rico. It's kind of like a summer league that only lasts for 3 months, but it's a league that we really enjoy. It's closer to home, a lot of Spanish culture, but it's kind of got like a American feel to it as well, since it's the colony of America. Then went to the Dominican Republic after one of the seasons there, won a championship there in the Dominican Republic, and that was another small 3-month season. Had a good time there because in doing so and winning, it set me up for an opportunity to come play in Nanterre for my first year, my first time over in Europe. That was 2016, 2017. We all know how that season finished. 2 great championships, played with a great group of guys that I still talk to today. Sitting here on this couch in the place that Spencer lived in last year. It's one of my great friends. That was really obviously an awesome experience to win 2 championships in Europe in my first year. Stayed in France that next year, went to Limoges, and played in the Euro Cup competition with them. That was kind of my first experience at really high-level European basketball. Signed a 2-year deal there. The second year didn't work out, so I went back to Australia. We were having my daughter that summer, so my wife was feeling more comfortable to have the baby in the States. So we decided to do that and decided to go to more of an English-speaking country to make it easier for the transition of having a second child. Went there, had a successful season in a cool city back in the league that we fell in love with when I first started playing. Didn't end up signing back with the team. I went back to Puerto Rico, was playing in Puerto Rico, got MVP of the season in Puerto Rico, and that was 2019. And Limoges decided to call me one day during the summer and said they'd love to have me back. They had a new GM in, they were revamping the team, and they wanted me to kind of be the foundation that the team was built on. You know, wanted me to be captain again, and so I was super excited to go back to Limoges. That's a place that I have a lot of respect for, a great fan base, playing in the Euro Cup competition again, which I've really enjoyed and loved playing in. So we had that season, and then COVID hit, and so my family, we all had to leave in March and to go back to the States. And in that transition time of being back in the States, I was home in the summer and was talking to Pascal a lot about, you know, depending on how COVID and when the season was to restart, how we were gonna operate. And luckily it worked out. My family and I wanted to come back to somewhere familiar. Pascal wanted a player that he was familiar with. So we decided to come back, and Chris has come back. So that's really cool for me to be able to play with Chris again. And we're, you know, back in Euro Cup competition, which I enjoy, and we're going at it. So what do I like to do when I'm not being Brian the basketball player? I'm awful at cooking, so Brian is not in the kitchen. I used to read books. I like to read books, but that's kind of a phase thing for me. Sometimes I love to do it and sometimes I don't. Right now I'm in the phase where I don't, but I've got 2 degrees from college. When I went to St. Louis, I got a bachelor's degree in finance, and then I got my master's of business. I enjoy business, I enjoy numbers, and I enjoy financial advising, stocks and bonds and different kind of investments, real estate. Christina, my wife's father, is in real estate, so I've gotten into that a little bit more these last couple of years, just working with investments and just as a kind of, what am I gonna maybe potentially do when I'm done playing? So starting to focus on after career stuff now that I'm 31. I'm a man of my faith. I'm Catholic, so I like to pray a lot. Don't read the Bible probably as much as I should. Now with COVID, it's hard to go to church. I don't feel comfortable with that, but it's something I normally try to do a lot. Obviously, I've got the 2 kids now, and everything revolves around them, and I love to give them the most experience that I can in life, and that's why we love to travel with them. Benson, this will be his 3rd year in a school abroad. He's actually never been to school in the States. His first year of school was in Australia. Then his last 2 years here, he's been in a French Montessori school. For me, that's been fantastic because I love that both schools only really speak French. He's had to interact with French friends and kind of immerse himself straight into the language. I like to pride myself in learning the language, learning the culture, and so, you know, for him to be able to have this experience at such a young age, I think is super beneficial. We're close to Disneyland Paris. My wife loves Disneyland, so She takes the kids to Disneyland as much as possible. We try to get them out to the museums, visit the churches, Notre Dame. I was fortunate enough to be here when Notre Dame before the fire, so we have pictures of my son Benson before the fire, and now we've taken some pictures after just to see that growth and development. Yeah, we just try and give them as much culture as possible. You know, I really want my kids to grow up and, you know, in a world now where there's so many crazy things happening and it seems like there's so many ways to be connected, but yet as a human race, we're so far apart. I like to hopefully give my children an opportunity to raise them in a better world and be better people to help this world become better. My focus, yeah, is on my children a lot now too, and so that's what Brian, the basketball player, likes to do off the court.